Hi, welcome to Astrology for Game Traders. My name is Olga Morales, and today I am just looking at the forthcoming Mars conjunct Saturn on the 10th of April, just a couple of days after the solar eclipse. Please watch my previous videos on the eclipses. Now, this one is a really difficult combination on the 10th of April, which I think will have more impact than the actual solar eclipse. Now, looking at this chart, I've set it for New York because, we're looking at the New York Stock Exchange. And you can see this is a very difficult combination. So we've got Mars and Saturn at approximately 15 degrees of Pisces, okay? And they're on the descendant, so they're setting over New York. But you can see that they're also square the MC and opposite the ascendant, okay, with about 2 degrees all. 2 to 3 degrees all. Now, the other thing that I want you to notice is have a look at Pluto. Pluto at almost 2 degrees of Aquarius is sesquiquadrate the midheaven and sesquiquadrate the ascendant, okay? Now, that is very difficult. That's an eighth harmonic combination with the two points that are local, and the angles are the most important part of forecasting mundane astrology. The other thing is you can see that Pluto is also 45 degrees from Mars and Saturn. That's our eighth harmonic. Now, that combination is really quite difficult. They also opposite and square the MC and the ascendant, okay? So when we see energy like that, anything to do with the eighth harmonic, we need to then put it on the dial, which I'm going to do to show you all this. Now, because Mars and Saturn were square and opposite the angles, if I look, they come together on the dial because they're on the fourth harmonic. So they come together because they're all in the mutable signs, okay? But can you see that across the dial, Pluto is there, okay? So Pluto, because it was making an eighth harmonic, it's on the other side. So this is a whole picture here. If you read Eberton, for example, for this combination, it's difficult. So just the Mars Saturn, it's called harmful destructive energy, inhibited or destroyed vitality. Test of strength, dispute, separation, illness, cases of death. Okay, so that's really, it's called his death combination, death and destruction. Adding Pluto, we've got brutality, the rage and fury of destruction, intervening of a high power, bodily harm, injury, murder, the death of a great many people. Now, I know a lot of the Eberton's things are quite dark because it was during the war, but the energy is there. You can't make this easy going. Okay, so Pluto we know is all about transformation is a good way to say, but it also, the transformation usually comes from some destructive energy. So I don't like it. And so what I would like to say is that if you can on that day, maybe stay home or don't go into places where there's large groups or and so forth, because it just looks like quite dangerous. Now this can be earthquakey combination as well. So it might not be people saying, "Oh, is there going to be an earthquake?" Well, you know, uh, anciently the astrologers would say that eclipses are usually earthquakes are usually happen very close to eclipses because everything's unstable, and we know that to be quite accurate. So it's not going to happen. It can happen on the same day. Sometimes they happen so perfectly. So I just want to sort of alert people. And the other thing is too, when you look at this, if we look at the world point, which is our 0 degrees of the cardinal signs, you can see that the Mars Saturn is a mirror image to the nodes, a part of fortune on this side, okay, because they're 150 degrees apart, the quincunx. But on the dial, that becomes a midpoint structure that needs to be looked at. And, if you have anything in your natal chart at 0 degrees of the cardinal, 15 degrees of the mutable, 15 degrees of the cardinal signs, or early degrees of the fixed signs, this pattern is going to have an impact there for you, okay? Now, the other thing is, if I wanted to look at that on the solar maps, I can look that up. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in the points that I want to look at, not just the sun and the moon, because that's for the eclipse. I'm going to look at Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, and the nodes, because they're the ones in the picture, okay? So you can see that they're culminating, all right, over the Pacific. So this is Hawaii, and even the parents are going through there. So this Hawaii is in the picture. We can see it going through on the ice there, the bottom part. It's going through parts of Europe. Okay, I can lock into that. I'll zoom into it. Now, if I put in midpoints, which I think I will, because they are creating the midpoints, so I'm going to put in midpoints. We'll probably get a lot more lines, but it's okay. Because the lines tell you, like, you can see that the Mars-Saturn node is on the MC going through this area here, China, Shanghai, the Hong Kong. Now, the parent lines are going right through Taiwan, where, you know, we've just had a huge earthquake. You can see the line going through the Philippines and also Indonesia. Now, you know, earthquakes obviously going to happen more often where there's already fault lines on the earth. And so if you see any of these lines going through those areas, there's a higher probability of that possibly occurring. So you can see the Pacific is in the highlight, and also New Zealand. So the Mars, Saturn, Pluto MC is going through New Zealand. Okay. Yeah, so there's areas in here. So basically, I don't want to name all the areas, but just have a look for yourself by looking at this. I can zoom into the United States, select, and we can zoom in here where lines are. It's looking like there's something happening possibly here in Miami, Florida, or Cuba. The lines are going right through. There's a bit of a cross going through there. Through Haiti. You know, there's issues already in this area. Yeah. Anyway, have a look. I'll just keep this up a little bit more. If you know, actually, we can see that there's issues here also in India going through there. Not the fault line, the Mars Saturn. If you follow that, I'll just might put another map on for a minute. Put it back to Australia. That line, the Paran line, goes through Hong Kong, Calcutta, parts of India there, Saudi Arabia, parts of Africa on the top here, but also Southern Africa, Australia, like pretty much just above Alice Springs there, and then Rio de Janeiro, that latitude there. So, you know, I don't want to freak people out, but I just think it's difficult energy. So if you can avoid being out on that day, especially on the 10th, maybe just chill out and not go into areas where there's big groups. This can be somebody taking out their fury on a lot of people, okay, like a mass shooting. It can be an earthquake. So it can be a terrorist attack. I don't like it. You know, I can't make that combination a nice picture. So this is my warning video. And astrology is about foreknowledge and, you know, protecting ourselves. If we can see, we should alert people. And so this is my alert. I hope nothing happens and it just goes away and we don't see anything. But the planet alignments are not very nice. So be careful out there. And thanks for listening.